I thought I'd start the show with an underbed of some music. I'm probably gonna get hit with a copyright thing, but I don't give a shit tonight. It's from one of my favorite soundtracks from probably one of the more underrated, and I hate that word usually because people usually are full of shit. They'll say something's overrated that's obviously more popular than anything, right? But this particular tune is the last track of the soundtrack to Judge Dredd. Not the Sylvester Stallone one, the Carl Urban one. It's called Apocalyptic Wasteland. And for some reason, this song popped into my head. I hadn't listened to it in a while. And I kind of knew I would start sounding like a DJ on a radio station, but I said, you know what, let me give it a shot. Maybe if it's low enough, it won't catch the copyright, but I thought it'd maybe give the show a little more personality, more of a tone. Initially, I thought maybe I could use one of the non-copyrighted options on StreamYard, but everything sounded either too happy or too melancholy. That's another word I haven't used in a while. But apocalyptic wasteland. How to describe that in terms of what we're doing here tonight? Um, I, I'm wearing Drip Show's hat this evening because Chris, that's Drip Show, Chris. You'll hear me say Chris. I don't really say Drip Show unless I'm promoting his products. But Chris texted me earlier today, and I wasn't planning on doing anything tonight. And he's like, "Can you please talk about something tonight, like in your next show?" And it hit me. And this is before the Dodger game. This is before the last preseason game with the Steelers. It had something to do with the Lakers. Something that didn't involve ownership issues, Jeannie Buss, the Buss family, and all that bullshit, right? And this isn't the first time I've had, the listeners of the show hit me up when they're kind of itching for a show. And today was just, it was one of those things where at what point do things get fun again? It's just like everything is not fun because no matter what happens, it just seems like everything that these teams do, I'm talking like the leadership part, the owners, the leagues, the channels, the broadcasters, whatever. It's always trash. There's no positiveness. There's nothing. It's always something that no one wants. But then it gets done anyways, and you kind of just deal with it. I'm gonna start the show for my Steeler fans out there. It's gonna be a short one because again it's a preseason game and it's the last one. I'm gonna open up with the Steelers and say that the end of the Mike Tomlin era for Steeler fans was met with a lot of adulation because the team has been mediocre for a long time. Matter of fact, Mike Tomlin around the Steeler fan area, not ESPN or Rich Eisen and all these just delusional people about the prowess of Mike Tomlin. We call them mediocre Mike because he likes to say, everybody gets mesmerized by his word salads and I used to call them word spaghettis or spaghetti words because they didn't have anything that backed it up. When Joe Namath said, I guarantee it because he was pissed off. Well, he came out Super Bowl Sunday and backed it up. And I'm watching the Steelers of today and really the last few years, and it just, there's no identity anymore. The identity is gone, right? There was this tough, rough Pittsburgh Steeler identity of tough town, amazing defense, run down your throat. And then if you got a couple of quarterbacks that can throw the ball, hell, you got Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger as guys that became Hall of Famers and soon to be Hall of Famers. But the last few years, if you remove T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward has a spot in there, but he's not a household name, right? T.J. Watt sort of has that. But other than the kicker, they have no. And T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward are past their primes. That's not something that's not fact, right? They even know that. But I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, this team only has one in his prime superstar on this team, and he's the kicker. Chris Boswell's the kicker. That's it. They got no one else, not a center. And they've had amazing centers in their time. Not, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is great, but he's not in his. He's done after this year. And if that offensive line continues to play the way they've been playing, he ain't gonna last 17 games. He ain't gonna last 10 games. So I'm getting ready for so it wasn't Mike Tomlin when these guys don't play well. Well, there's a couple things that have happened the last decade that we don't know if it got solved a little bit in the draft this year. And that is they have been missing in the first round a lot versus when the Troy Polamalu's and the Ben Roethlisbergers and the Jerome Bettises and the Hines Ward and that three-time Super Bowl participant, two-time world champ team that played together for about a decade, they were hitting in the first round almost every time, hitting in the third round almost every time, and then they would always sneak in a even later pick where they became contributors to the team. But again, watching the team today, nothing has changed on defense. I know it's preseason, but they made some questionable hires in terms of assistant coaches, and that's another big thing that they haven't been able to do well. So to put a button on this, again, because I don't want to go into this too much, it's still preseason. It's still a preseason game, but the Steelers look like absolute dog shit. So, and they have no game changers on this team that can make up for it. I'm sorry, folks. I don't consider DK Metcalf a star. He is a number 2 receiver in a number 1 receiver position, and he's getting paid as a 1 receiver. He's not. I've seen enough DK Metcalf in my lifetime, especially within the last year, to know that. So, starting out this show with the Pittsburgh Steelers going into the 2026 season likely being a problem to themselves. And we're all going to have to wish that we're wrong. And then maybe guys develop within the next 2 to 3 months. I don't know. But as of right now, I haven't seen anything change. And there's no athlete out there that is changing anything either. There isn't a singular player on the Steelers other than the kicker that can change a game. So, not good. Not good to start off that way. Going into the second topic here, and this is going to be more of the discussion that people wanted to talk about, which is the LA Dodgers. Now, I'm going to start this out with this run that they're in here in August is similar to what happened last year. And then what ended up happening was a week into September, they turned it on. It's easy to try to manipulate your mind into thinking that that's something that could happen again, because it is. These guys are a 2-time champ. They are seasoned. They've shown that they can do things. But what what I've been trying to explain, even from the beginning of the year when they were still playing well, is there's a few things at the beginning of the year that I did not like seeing. I saw a lot of double plays. And I have fellow Dodger fans, fellow Dodger constituents who will like to think into the positive and optimistic area. Well, that the reason why they're getting more double plays is because they have more people on base. I don't know where that logic came from, but I had to kind of scale back before unleashing because I don't want to be I don't want to be a jerk to my friends. But I thought it was an asinine response. They lead the league in double plays. They started out well in the bullpen. They started out well defensively. They were the best defensively in the league. And then something happened in, I think, around end of June. You started seeing them fumbling and bumbling, and they haven't actually stopped since. We can look at how Teo does his thing, but that was a singular issue for a while. But then it became everyone. It became everyone. And that hasn't stopped. That hasn't stopped. There's been some good plays, but it's still lingering. And a lot of it is because of the guy in right field. Teo has recently played horrible in left field. He's not going to be a Gold Glover, but he has recently played horrible in left field. But the thing with Teo is he does have a habit of making up for things. So yesterday he had an error, really. I don't know if they still counted it as a double. That wasn't a freaking double. That was an error. And I've been noticing that Major League Baseball has been calling a lot of hits when they should be errors. And I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe they're doing it so they can up the offensive production, because this is probably one of the worst offensive productions in terms of the entire league I've seen in a while. It's really bad. No one really can hit well. No one. The guys that do hit are either hitting really well this year or they're the usuals, like Arise in Philly. And all he does is just play like he's Wade Boggs and Tony Gwynn in the 90s, right? There isn't really any slug. It's just get hits. Speaking of slugs, this is the other part that I've noticed this year, besides the double plays, is the slug is gone. And the slug has not been there at all year. Your slug has really been coming from a half-healed Ohtani, which we know Ohtani is a freak of nature, right? He's having a quote-unquote marginal year considering his past and considering the league's averages. But he's not hitting 50 home runs. If you look back the last couple seasons, around this time, Ohtani hit at least, I think, 10 or 12 more home runs around this time. Those home runs probably equate, again, the reason why the WAR statistic has become such a important statistic for value is because I think these analytical geeks think that that's what measures it's like a pseudo MVP type thing. Now, when it comes to value, there's different versions of value. There's an individual value and then there's a team value, right? When it comes to an individual accolade, which is what the Hall of Fame is, I don't like this in the NBA. I've talked about this on the Lakers Fast Break for years. If you're gonna make an individual award held towards a team accomplishment more than the actual performance, then the individual award needs to not be an individual award. So, not to get into the NBA MVP discussion, I don't want to go that route. I don't want to get there. I think you guys all know where I'm going at with this, and a lot of you already heard it. Is you have this WAR statistic that says wins above replacement. To make it easy for everyone to understand what the hell that is, just imagine when you see somebody with a 9 WAR for the season, they brought 9 extra wins to that team. That's valuable for the team. Very valuable. Very, very, very valuable. When it's an individual award, the WAR is, to me, I'm looking at statistics, individual statistics. This guy was an MVP. This guy hit a certain amount of hits. He had certain big game performances, individual things, right? We do factor in those individual high-end moments. And when you're an MVP and you have those moments, that's how you're supposed to judge the individual award of, let's say, Hall of Famer. Now, what's going on with the Dodgers is they're not slugging. They're not hitting the ball out the park. And I'm not even talking about that they're trying to play baseball and so they can just get hits. I'm talking about they haven't been capable of doing it. Ohtani has an excuse because he's drained himself. He's playing hurt. I don't care how much they say that knee is fine. It's been what will be now almost a 3-year run with the Dodgers, where he spent a lot of time. He played 175 games last year when you count the playoff run. That's a lot of games. That is a lot of games. Not only a lot of games, but he was pitching the half of last year, and the pressure in the playoffs. He was running a regular rotation. Now, making an excuse for it? Yeah. I think Ohtani is warranted the excuse. Because he's still hitting 30 home runs and has 80 RBIs, playing on one leg and pitching and doing all this shit, right? So, what were the Dodgers planning to do to help the boys that are getting older, like Mookie, like Muncy, like Freddie, like Teo? We're going to bring in a world champion, Gold Glover, whose splits are even. And that was Kyle Tucker. And by the way, he's 29 years old. He's in his prime. And that hit a massive wall. And I'm talking about the Great Wall of China. We were sitting here talking about Michael Conforto destroying anything and everything last year. And in the end, it worked out because you have Kike, a.k.a. baseball's version of Robert Horry, Hernandez, there to cover for Conforto because he knows how to play playoff baseball. And I didn't think about that. I really didn't. I almost forgot, right? I got suckered into that Conforto hate, not realizing, wait a minute, they gave it a shot. It was a 1-year deal. Yeah, it was an overpay, but it was a 1-year deal. It didn't work out, but we got Kike. Cool. Worked out. Kike did some Kike things, and if Kike didn't do Kike things, they probably don't win the championship. It's just those little things, right? Everybody kind of has their moment. A lot of the guys had their moment in the playoff run where if it didn't happen, they wouldn't have won from them. That's baseball. So looking at a team that's going to win the division, that actually has a better record now than they had the last 2 years. But it's not about the record. It's not about them not coming through against above 500 teams, which I think right now they're at 33 and 36 or 33 and 35 now. Those don't even bother me. Those don't even bother me. What's bothering me is they're not hitting slug. They're not slugging. And they are making major mistakes at the worst time. Double plays to me are like 2 missed free throws in crucial moments. And crucial moment doesn't mean at the end of the game. I'm talking about it could be a momentum swing during the second quarter. You go from the possibility of going through this momentum that goes, let's say, 4 points even, but then you don't make the free throws. That's a turnover, right? To me, I call it a turnover when you miss both free throws. And then now, instead of being up 4 with the momentum, you just miss 2 free throws, and then the other team comes and hits a 3, and now they're up 1. It's that quick, right? It's that quick. You could go from a 4-point lead when you're getting free baskets, but because you're not hitting the shots you're supposed to, the free ones, within a matter of 10 to 12 seconds, you go from a possibility of a 4-point lead with momentum to a 1-point deficit. So let's flip that into baseball. You get a hit from a guy, let's say, that is struggling, and he is happy, right? Oh, hell yeah. I was 0 for 8 the last 2 games. Got a hit, and he's the leadoff hitter in the inning. And then Kyle Tucker or someone else, first pitch, mother freaking double play. Completely zaps everything. And it's even worse in baseball. 1 pitch and you get 2 outs. It is more brutal than missing 2 free throws in an NBA game. Those are the type of things that have been going on since the beginning of the year. And then on top of that, other than Muncy, and then half of Ohtani is off his pace of home runs. By the end of the year, he'll probably be off by 15 home runs. I know it's not easy to hit 50 home runs. Totally get it. But the point of the matter is, if he's not hitting, if they're not fearing Ohtani, they will not fear anyone else. You know why the bottom of the lineup is hitting? If you're watching the games like I'm watching them, you'll notice. The reason why they're hitting at the bottom of the order is because they're getting the pitches. They don't care at this point. Okay, Fiducia hits a single, big deal. Oh, Rordvet hits a single, big deal. Oh, Tommy Edman is batting 8th. Oh, he got a blooper single, big deal. You know why it's not a big deal anymore, guys? Because they know right now that Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts are not going to get those guys in. And even if they do on occasion, it's not enough. It's not enough. You have 3 guys at the top of your lineup that are making $100 million a year. If you're not getting those guys in when they're hitting, the guys that aren't supposed to hit, you have no chance at beating anyone with any talent. Those are the mistakes that they've been making this year that I didn't notice even when they were playing like shit last year. Those double plays and the fact that you got worse. How the hell did they get worse getting a better player? That's not something Andrew Friedman can be blamed for. That's not something that Dave Roberts can be blamed for. Dave Roberts makes the calls on lineups, when to put pitchers in, and try to get the matchups as close as possible. But he can't control Tanner Scott throwing a meatball to Hae-Sung Kim yesterday and losing in a walk off to a guy that was batting, what was it, 93? Don't worry about it, Chris. I got you. You've been the star of the show already. You've been the star of the show already. You're the engine that started tonight's show. I haven't got to your topic yet. I wasn't going to do it until you got here. So right now we are talking to Dodgers though, and looking at it from a outside Dodger perspective too, without being the scum sucking cockroaches that have been just flailing everywhere since this Mark Walter thing started. We also have to come to the realization that if this thing doesn't happen, you have to understand how hard baseball is and the fact that these guys are getting old. Freddie Freeman has 15 home runs and he's trying. You could see it. He is trying, but the ball is just not leaving. And as far as Mookie Betts is concerned, Mookie might not be in Freddie area, but he's right behind him. And that shortstop position has zapped his offense. It has zapped it. He's been playing Gold Glove shortstop for almost 2 seasons now. Very admirable, but that position has zapped Mookie Betts at the plate. There's no other reason to think so. Think otherwise. It might be just a perfect storm of that and the fact that he's getting older. Teo, I think Teo's body is starting to break down, and this happens a lot in sports. Guys break down sometimes much quicker and much harder than you think. You can see it in how he runs, even the bases. He's dragging a little bit, and maybe he's mentally tired. And he's got an autistic son. I don't know. I don't like to get into the personal side of people's lives, but there could be a lot of things going on. And then again, the pressure of winning, right? That plays a huge part in this too. It might be the biggest part. Frustration, pressure, right? You lose Pages, but you were still losing to the good teams with Pages, so I'm not going to use that as an excuse either. Will Smith, when he gets back here, hopefully in a couple weeks, I think it might be less than that. I'm going to be very curious to see how his body connects, how quickly he connects. Is it going to take a week, 2, 3? But man, if he comes back like he did last year after he broke his hand and plays well throughout September and October, that'll be a huge boost. I mean, a huge boost. And again, all credit to Fiducia and Rorvet. My God, and all the guys, Chucky Robinson, all those guys, all those catchers that have been catching for the Dodgers this year. Man, those guys got put into really tough spots, a lot of them, and a lot of them did the best they could. And I commend them. I really do. I playing catcher and on a team like this, man, that's a hell of a Fiducia, who was a Marlin, or was he a Ray? I always forget, Miami or Tampa, right? To bring him back, because he was a minor league Dodger. He's an in-house guy. He's been playing well. He's been getting really nice hits. Rorvet plays his ass off. It's great. It's great. Those guys did. If God willing, they can get this figured out and they can three-peat. Those guys play a huge part in winning that ring. They'll deserve every bit of that ring, helping out the team throughout the year. The pitching has been great. Starting pitching, that is. bullpen has been. There's been guys that have been off. There's guys that have been off. But the problem with the bullpen is they're not as bad as they were last year. But it at that time it was really just one guy that was blowing the games. That was Tanner Scott. Now you have three or four guys that are blowing these games at the end. That is not good. Now, they can get around that because they have so many starters that they could put in the bullpen for the playoff run. So there is a little bit of a bright light there on how that plays out. But the main issue is if these guys don't start slugging, I don't know if they're going to make it out of the NLCS, especially if they play like the Philadelphia Phillies or, God forbid, the San Diego Padres. They're going to have to figure out this slug issue, man. They're going to have to figure it out. They are now not they're not going to get now the tiebreaker. The Brewers have the tiebreaker on them, and now Atlanta has the tiebreaker on them. Atlanta's a game out, which is really truly a game out because as soon as they tie, that means Atlanta's up. Is a game away from the second seed. If this team has to play in a wild card game against San Diego or the Phillies, it's even worse. Or if the Phillies catch up to Atlanta and win the division and have to play Atlanta, it's going to be even worse. This series reminded me a lot of the 2021 NLCS, and I had a weird feeling that it was going to be like this. I did. I'm not just saying that because they got swept, but I don't know why it popped into my head. Just the instincts came into my head. You looked at two games in that series that were walk-offs, right? They win 4-2. So if you win those two games, Dodgers, you're going to the World Series to play the Houston Astros. The Dodgers lost every game in this series by one run, and they have been losing the close games to these teams. And that slug plays a huge part in it. They're going to have to solve that problem, and they cannot, absolutely cannot have this double play problem going into September and October because they've had that issue all year, even when they were playing well. All those bases loaded miss-ups. That's the other thing. I don't know the stats on that. I have to look. But the amount of bases loaded that they've left. I've watched Dodger baseball for years, guys, and I've watched every single game this last few years. Don't talk to me about what I'm looking at. I know what the hell I'm looking at. This is a problem that I haven't seen be this bad of a problem. They have to fix those. Double plays are absolutely win destruction. And these assholes were doing it like twice a game for a while there. It was like every 4 innings, a double play was happening. Every freaking 9 innings, they had at least one bases loaded setup with less than 2 outs. It is by far from visually, again, if you look back in the past, I'm sure that they were worse at some point. But in my memory and what I've seen in terms of watching every day recently, this is by far the worst situational hitting Dodger team that's been this good that I've seen in during this run. That's another thing that you guys want to, that I want to kind of put in perspective here too. This team has won what will win their 13th division title in 14 seasons. And that one year they didn't win it. They won 106 games. The Giants were on a run of epic proportions, and even then they still The Giants still lost to the Dodgers in 5. So to me, that was more of a, well, you won the division, but we took the division in that series. So really, it's been 14 years where they've absolutely owned that division. And they've been to 5 World Series to boot. And I'm going to stand on that they should have 5, but I'm not going to get into that. They have 3. And there's history at stake here that is unprecedented. There's never been a National League team that's ever won 3 in a row. And it's at the and then you have the lockout that's looming afterwards, which in a weird ways would benefit the Dodgers even more, because the lockout is 99% going to happen December 1 of 2026. If they could eke their way into winning this World Series and three-peat, it is very likely that they're going to have rest probably from November to July. You're talking about almost 9 months. 9 months. I hope it doesn't go to July. I hope it comes back in June. But my feelings are, I think the season's going to miss out on a couple months. No spring training, and then there's going to be a couple months, and then they're going to make either an 80 or a 90. I'm sorry, an 80 or a 100 game season. I think they're going to figure out a way to stop it there, unless the Players Association really, really kind of plays nice, which I don't think that's going to happen. But I think they're gonna miss a couple months, and that's going to give the Dodgers almost 9 months of rest to go for a 4-peat. And Shohei Ohtani then has the best chance to probably win a Cy Young in a shortened season. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. Like, if there's some way you can eke this one out, win it, you are going to have almost a calendar year off before you play again. And these guys play very well when they're rested, right? That's why they're resting throughout the year. They win a 100-game season. Of course, all the cockroaches and the rats will sit there and, not legitimate, like the scumbags that they are. But who gives a shit what those pieces of shit think? No, everybody complains about anything when it comes to winning. When somebody wins too much, it's, oh, they're billionaires and they're screwing people. Or they're rich and they're screwing people. Oh, they're rich because their mommy and daddy gave money. Oh, it's Patrick Mahomes winning too many Super Bowls and he's getting all the calls from the refs. Oh, it's the LA Lakers because they're the LA Lakers. Oh, it's the Dodgers because they got this owner who's stealing money, which of course there's no proof of that, right? If that guy really stole money, do you think he would be free right now? Like, if that was a legitimate issue? My guess is, because I don't believe anything online, is he got audited and they go, where's the money? Much like hundreds and thousands of people in this country, when they get audited on their taxes, what happens? Well, sir, you said you made this much and you didn't claim it. Well, we have proof that you didn't pay taxes on it. Now you got to pay that, and then the fees and the fines. And once you do, and we can do a payment plan, then you can go about your merry way. Those guys aren't going to put you in jail unless they can find legitimate 100% reason that you stole the money. So, the future of the Dodgers. It's a perfect segue into the next subject. And this subject is about my friend Drip Show Chris hitting me up today and saying, Joe, I really need you to talk about this new Laker deal with Kalshi. And this is the third time in a year where I heard a word or a name, and the little Woody Woodpecker in my conscience said, the first one was when I found out that Mark Walter borrowed money from some guy in Abu Dhabi. That this money did not come from a Guggenheim connection or his own stash, but it came from a non-U.S. connection. Now, of course, we were happy. We've seen what Mark Walter has done. We know that a lot of these guys work outside the United States. I get it. But the little Woody Woodpecker in my head was like this. That's a dangerous thing when you ignore that little. And we do that. And as much pride as I take in being transparent and being truthful and telling people how it is without putting any fluff, even I sometimes will put myself in what I call false naivete. But that sucker it was loud when I heard it. It was like this. Just like how you're hearing it now. That's how it is. That's how it was in my head. I'm like, huh. And then look what happened. The second time, I saw what's really two names in one. I see Gerald Glassford's sharing the article, the news break on that Mark Walter sold the team to Josh Kushner. At the time, I didn't read the Josh part all the way through. I just saw a J and Kushner and then Bob Iger. And I talk about the woodpecker. That two woodpeckers came out at that point in my head and said, what the hell just happened? What the hell did I just read? Did I read Josh? What? Kushner? Bob Iger? What? Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird one. That one wasn't as, I didn't go into any kind of delusion on that one. Even with some of the Lakers sites that I go to, message boards, forums, there's some people there that live a positive existence, positive outlook on things. And they're like, well, why don't we just give these guys a chance? And that's admirable. I get it. But that pecker, that woodpecker is just, I wish I could kill that damn thing in my head. And then a few days ago, and the only phrase I can think of in this is tone deaf. The LA Lakers the Dodgers partner up with fucking Kalshi. And the funny thing about that, and the funny thing about the timing of Chris hitting me up about it, Chris's Drip Show, by the way, guys, anything Drip Show makes is absolute platinum. It's better than gold. I highly recommend you visit all his social medias, Drip Show, and get his amazing art and his amazing gear. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. I'm saying it because his damn stuff is that good. You can see the stuff behind me. You can see my hat. I had a discussion with some people online about the Kalshi thing. And some guy goes, it's not a gambling site. So let me get what the hell this thing is. So I went on the Bible of the internet right now, which is Reddit, right? Because you can't get anything without speaking with. You can't go anywhere without seeing some kind of stupid ad or some skank selling something. At least with Reddit, every now and then when I look at it, it's just straight messaging. So it's a good thing. I'm not signed up on it. I just go on the site and that's it. But I got to this article and it says, "How is Kalshi not gambling?" And I started reading. I started reading some of the comments. So this one guy wrote, "It's gambling okay, but how it operates is extremely similar to how some parts of the stock market works." You know, George Carlin, famous stand-up comedian, actor. A lot of you guys were probably too young to remember. A lot of you guys were obviously old enough to remember as well. His early stuff I never connected with. I connected with his stuff the last probably 15 years of his life. He passed away in 2008. He had this one set where he talked about euphemisms. You know how when we're in California, you're not supposed to say illegal alien, you're supposed to say undocumented immigrant, shit like that. He talked about those things way before those things got popular. And when I was reading that line, it's the quintessential euphemism sentence. It's gambling okay, but how it operates is extremely similar to how some parts of the stock market works. Declaring it gambling legally puts some parts of the stock market also into that. So what they're doing is they're putting that word salad in there to kind of make you forget about the question. It's a manipulative way of doing that. Another hilarious line that I hear a lot of these piece of shit politicians talk about is they need to pay their fair share. I go, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean fair share? Give me an example. What the fuck does fair share mean? If I make $1 million because I'm working my ass off, I'm paying rent, I paid for the fucking sewage clearance that for a building that's not mine. I'm paying state taxes. I'm paying piss taxes. I'm paying shit taxes. I'm paying gas taxes. I'm going to be paying for tire taxes soon. How much more do I have to give when I'm busting my ass already paying for all that shit? When you're telling me fair share. For who? For you? Fuck you. If I made $1 million working my ass off, that's supposed to be for fucking me. I already pay enough taxes. I own a home. I'm paying property taxes. I'm paying Melrose. I pay taxes every fucking time I buy a gallon of milk, gallon of fucking soda, gallon of whatever the fuck. When does it end? So this Kalshi thing ignited the euphemism. The Dodgers are teaming up, totally tone deaf on what's going on around them. You team up with a gambling app when you've made $1 billion already at a time like this. What is it? What is it? What is it for? I gotta become a philosopher now, I gotta preach on some fucking. I gotta preach on some goddamn podcast. I hate this shit. I want to talk about the games. I want to enjoy the games, even if they're losing. Hey, the Dodgers suck. They're losing. The Lakers suck. They can't get past the first round. The Steelers can't stop a nosebleed in the secondary. That's normal. You know. That's part of the fandom, because for every bad year, bad week, bad whatever, at least in my situation, I've been very lucky. You get the championships here and there. The LA Dodgers back to back. The Lakers three-peat. The Lakers back-to-back again. The Steelers win 2 championships in 4 years. And then you see amazing games and amazing shots and amazing throws and amazing hits, even in the years that they don't win it all. But I'm noticing I'm not talking about the shittiness of the team enough. I have to bring up this other bullshit, like what the fuck the owner is gonna do. What the hell is this stupid advertisement doing to the stadium? You know, I was talking. I was on a post on Facebook about. Somebody asked a question like, "What's your favorite food from Dodger Stadium that's gone now?" I go, Farmer John's hot dogs. That's the Dodger dog. That's the Dodger dog. How the hell did they get rid of that? The Dodger dogs don't taste the same. The Farmer John's ones tasted. That's the Dodger dog. That's what I remember eating. It's a different taste. It's the same thing with Wendy's now. I had friends of mine that worked at Wendy's in high school. We used to eat there every weekend. The spicy chicken #6. Spicy chicken, supersized. It was just starting to get going. Supersized in the late 90s. It was just starting to get going. And they would really supersize shit. The greatest, in my view, the greatest sandwich in fast food is the spicy chicken #6. And what did these stupid dumb fucks at Wendy's? Totally rolling Dave Thomas in that fucking whatever he is. Mausoleum, a coffin, whatever. I ate that #6 a couple months ago. I go, what the fuck is this? I didn't know they changed it. Why would you change perfection? Especially coming from a fast food joint. The one fucking thing that you guys made that tasted amazing, you fucking switched it out. And then I read an article a couple days ago on how, Wendy's is realizing that the pieces of shit private equity cocksuckers that bought the franchise made a mistake by taking profits over quality. Oh, really? You're already poisoning the planet with your, or the country with your bullshit. Can you at least poison us with something that tastes good? And by the way, something that's reasonable in price? So, how does this pertain in the end to the Dodgers signed with Kalshi? Well, there was a popular bar over there, I forgot the name of it, that now they're going to put Kalshi on the headline. So not only do you get rid of a landmark, you team up with another fucking dick-faced piece of shit projection, stock, whatever the fuck you want to call it, a stock market horse shit, guessing, gambling, garbage app. More reason for everyone to just sit there like a bunch of fucking dickheads doing this all day. Doing this all day. You can't go outside now without betting if the fucking streetlight's going to turn on or off. Well, I've had this discussion before. I've had it, right? I have cousins of mine. I have friends of mine. Joe, why don't you make some bets? You know this shit. I go, you don't really get me, do you? You really don't get me. How long have you motherfuckers known me? This is my family, by the way. You know me. Why would I do that? Why would I do that when I loathe everything about it? I'm not saying I don't make a prop bet. I'm not saying I don't play blackjack every once in a while, but that's what that shit is for. Just like when you drink alcohol. I don't need alcohol. I want to drink it. When I go to a bar, when I go have lunch, dinner with friends, I enjoy alcohol and I'll drink it. Go to a beach party. I want to drink alcohol. I like the buzz. But guess what, guys? I ain't going to sit there and drink every fucking day for the next 50 years. Just like I'm not going to gamble every fucking day for 50 years. For what? So I can make these fucking dickheads rich? Fuck them. So, my assessment on Chris, I know you're still listening. My assessment on Dodgers and Kalshi is negative 50. It's a jerk off. It's a giant jerk off. The one thing that was working, the one thing you look at how the Dodgers have been. You look at how the Dodgers have been operating every time, every year. They're putting something into the team. They're putting a better roster. Uh, they're expanding the dugout. They're expanding the clubhouse. They're expanding the stadium. They're fixing the fence. They're fixing the screens around the stadium. They're cleaning up the parking lot. They're doing all this shit. And you're sitting there going, man, we're seeing what that moron in Anaheim does. The guy's got rats climbing it on people over there. But our guys, our team, they're winning and they're still investing. But at what price now? At what price? So that you can team up with more gambling sites. Because we don't have enough. DraftKings, Top Kings, Jerk Off Kings, whatever the fuck those people are. And now again, unfortunately, it was online. I wish it was in live with somebody. I'm like, somebody's saying this is not gambling. I go, what the fuck is it then? It's like the stock market. What the fuck do you think the stock market is? None of those assholes know anything. So their inability to win these games that they've been losing, teaming up with these bums, and something that's going on behind the scenes that I got wind of a little bit. I got a little bit of an itch earlier in the year because there was a couple things that were said, and I was like, I wonder why that's going on. So Freddie Freeman, I'm not trying to start gossip here, but I gotta explain this because it's there. I think it's there. But there was talk that Freddie Freeman was talking about that next year, which is the last year of his 6-year contract, might be his last year because he has a daughter, a newborn daughter now, and he goes, I got to start, being around my kids more. And I got scared. I was like, oh shit, wait, Freddie's not going to try to get 3,000 hits and try to be a 20-year man, right? I thought as a fan at that point, oh man, really? Come on, And then not too long after that, I started hearing things like he really wants a 2-year extension. I'm like, well, which one is it? Did he say that to put some pressure on the Dodgers? I was like, oh shit, the woodpecker again. It's starting. Something else is going on. I know leverage. I know negotiations very well. And being around sports as long as I have, when you start hearing certain words and certain things that don't make any sense, that means somebody's playing a game. Somebody's playing something. So he went from, I might need to retire because I got a newborn girl now and I need to start hanging out with the kids, which made sense. So all of a sudden, he wants a 2-year extension probably because he wants to make an extra, 60 mil probably? The least? Before it's all said and done. That's a lot of money. And of course, get your 3,000 hit, get his 400th home run, which he's going to get. Probably get into the top 10 in doubles, all that stuff, right? Win a couple more World Series. But the issue with that is the Dodgers might not feel the same way after next year, regardless of what happens. Doesn't matter. And Freddie's not giving them any reason to think otherwise because those balls are not getting past the warning track. Matter of fact, this last month, they're not even getting out of the area of the left, center, or right fielder. He's still hitting 300. I think he's 298 now, but he's still hitting close to 300. But that doesn't mean anything anymore in Major League Baseball. It doesn't. No one gives a shit about 300 hitters. Luis Arraez has won 3 batting titles, and I think he's played for like 6 teams in the last 4 years. No one cares about contact hitters. No one cares about batting titles. It's the slug that people want. It's the slug that when you have a guy on first and second and you get that home run, that's the stuff that wins baseball games. Now, if you're playing a close game, a single home run can bring you in or give you the lead. But there's something going on with Freddie, and it's not all baseball. I think there's been possibly some frustration that maybe he's feeling that next year might be it. And if he does, and this is my assumption, this isn't obviously. I'm not an insider. I don't know Freddie. I don't know Freddie outside baseball or anybody around him. But he might be in that category where either he has to be a minimal player the last couple of years to try and do something. But then at the same time, what if the Dodgers have a better option? And that better option, guys, is on the roster already. We don't know if it's going to be one or the other yet. It could be. Because Will Smith's been playing a while. They may want to move him out of the catcher's position, and then you have Dalton Rushing. And if you need to use Will Smith as a catcher, you can. But Dalton Rushing, if he continues to play well, especially if he hits well, he can catch too, but hitting especially, and he's a lefty, it's going to be very hard, especially with the control they have and the salary. I mean, it's not looking good right now. It could change, but it doesn't look good right now that Freddie's probably going to be back after next season when his contract runs out. And I'm wondering if that's playing a part mentally for him, because it's a combination of also the fact that Superman is starting to become normal man a little bit. But the Dodgers have options. They always do. I also heard something. I'm gonna end this Dodger thing here. I think you got enough fill on the Kalshi thing. You know where Chris and I stand on that. I think it's a fucking joke to team up with those jerk offs. But I read something. It's so stupid. That's why I call these guys cockroaches and rats, because they're so stupid and useless. They're at the bottom of the damn food chain. Oh, the Dodgers are inflate their farm system. I'm like, you stupid dumb fuck. Do you know anything about what you're saying? What do you mean they inflate it? Do you have any idea the talent that's playing in Major League Baseball right now that's come from the farm system? And the Dodgers have the greatest farm system in the history of baseball, even more than the Yankees. Go read it. You don't got to believe me. You're right. You're right, Drip. That's exactly what that's from. The cucarachas. That's homage for my tortas out there. Dalton Rushing, Will Smith, Robleski. De Palma's going to be coming up soon, probably next year. He might come up now in September, but I don't know yet. And then what before then? You have the Seegers, you have the Bellingers, you have the Jock Peter. These guys are all playing. Even the guys that didn't. Vargas is an all-star this year. Bush in Chicago. What do you want? 40 guys that are playing in Major League Baseball for it to be a legitimate farm system? Those guys, the guys I just named you are World Series heroes, multiple champions, multiple playoff MVPs, Hall of Famers that are going to be going. A couple of those guys are going to go to the Hall of Fame. Walker Bueller. What did Walker Bueller do during his Dodger tenure? Poor bastard. If his arm could have just lasted a little bit. But that guy was a money player for 7 years when he played. In the biggest games, closed out the 2024 World Series in Yankee Stadium. You're never going to get past that. There's nothing that I could even imagine being better than that. You come in and you strike out the last three guys in Yankee Stadium against the Yankees to win a world championship after you've had the performances you've had in the playoffs the last 7 years. What's good to you, cockroaches? What's good? What, you got to be Shohei Ohtani? Oh, and by the way, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, Andre Ethier, all those guys that started elsewhere. How about Kike Hernandez, too? All those guys started elsewhere, but do you really equate Max Muncy with the Oakland A's? Same with Ethier. Do you equate Kike Hernandez and Teo as Houston Astros or Toronto Blue Jays or the Seattle Mariners? Fuck no. Those guys became legends wearing a Dodger uniform. And anyone and everyone, if they could have afforded Shohei Ohtani and he was willing to go to them, would have signed Shohei Ohtani. And Yamamoto, as far as I'm concerned, he's homegrown. He never played in the Major League Base. He never played in Major League Baseball. What about him? Same thing with Roki. Those are homegrown guys. Those guys are Dodgers. They've never played for anybody in Major League Baseball. So now what? Oh, they cheated. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that. Okay, go sleep on that for a while. Let's see. Do the Dodgers have a ring of fame at Dodger Stadium? Well, they have the retired players on their Chris. Chris, have you been to Dodger? You've been to Dodger Stadium, right? So the the Dodgers, he is, but the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, I mean, you could call it the Ring of Honor, really, right? So they have Pee Wee Reese, Jersey 1. They have Lasorda, number 2. Duke Snyder, number 4. Gil Hodges, number 14. Jim Gilliam, number 19. Don Sutton, number 20. Walter Austin, who was the manager, won 4 World Series before Tommy took over in '75, I believe. Sandy Koufax, 32. Fernando's not a Hall of Famer, but he was special. He was a phenomenon in L.A. like we've never seen in LA culturally, because Fernando was Mexican and the Mexican population was beyond themselves when he was doing what he was doing. 39 was Roy Capanella. 42 was Jackie Robinson, obviously. And then 53 is Don Drysdale. Now, I know that they have certain Dodger greats that they honor inside the facility, but I have to go look at who those guys are. Obviously, the guys like Davey Lopes and Ron Say and Steve Garvey, things like that. So What's going to be interesting is looking at this current team. They're going to probably, well, let me count how many jerseys. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the Dodgers have 12 jerseys that they've retired. You could almost say, and be very confident in saying this, that the Dodgers might add 6 jerseys to that ring of honor in the next 5 to 10 years. We already know Kershaw's going to go up there, so he's going to be up there. Shohei's going to be up there. Freddie's going to be up there. Mookie's going to be up there. The question now is, will Max Muncy be up there? Not in the same reason why Fernando was there, but because he's such a Dodger icon, will he be put up there? And will Will Smith be up there? Because I don't think Will Smith, or definitely not Muncy's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but you're talking about 6 guys right out of the gate there. Now, who am I missing? I haven't even put Yamamoto in there yet. We haven't put Snell in there yet, possibly. Probably not, but what if Tarek Skubal resigns and becomes a 4-time Cy Young Award winner and wins a couple champions? This thing is nuts. And what do you do if with Kike? I don't think Kike would get up there, but the Dodgers, this Dodger run, and this Dodger run is going to be here for a while, by the way. This is not, even though they're struggling now, you have to really understand that when Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers, he signed on a 10-year contract, and the prediction from me was I think they can win 6 out of 10, especially with the way they've been operating. So once we find out what's going on with this Mark Walter thing, once that blows over, whether he ends up, everything gets cleared on the other stuff that he's doing and he stays and keeps doing what he's doing, or he sells his shares to somebody else that can handle it, and then it just stays the same in terms of how they operate, because Andrew Freeman's still there, obviously, and Stan Kasten. I had said 6 out of 10. So there is no doubt that if the Dodgers win 4 more championships in the next 7 seasons, including this one, we will be talking about the greatest dynasty in sports, the greatest dynasty in baseball history. The degree of difficulty, the talent in terms of the ability to pitch. Every team has a pitcher that can throw heat, that can throw movement with heat, that can throw heat on top of heat. And then there's some guys like Mizorowski that can throw heat on top of movement, on top of attitude, on top of heat, and then a little bit more heat. I don't like to compare eras. I think I've gotten past that. But the reality is, based off the degree of difficulty, if this team wins 6 championships in 10 seasons during the Ohtani run, I feel very, very strongly that I'm not comparing it to the next dynasty of the Yankees or the A's. I'm just saying this is the greatest dynasty in baseball history. I'm not comparing them to anyone else. It just is. And that's if they win 6, which means they got to lose 4 times to make that happen. So is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? The Dodgers, no matter how talented they are, aren't going to win every championship. It's too difficult. You guys are seeing the residual of that here a little bit. Could happen. But this is going to go a long way, because I also do think that Shohei's next year, I believe Shohei's going to be, that'll be the last year he pitches full time. I'm pretty positive. I think common sense is screaming on that one. Next year will be the last year he will pitch full time. He's not going to have to pitch a full 162 next year, because I do believe that the lockout will take out a couple months, and then they'll have a shortened season, and then that'll be his chance to get a Cy Young in a shortened season. So that's that on that. After that, I don't see him in any way finishing the next 6 years doing any kind of full-time pitching. Maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, something like that. Maybe 5 innings here, 5 innings there. But Shohei Ohtani needs to get back to stealing bases and hitting home runs. That's what this team needs. You got Tarek Skubal for a reason. You have Snell for a reason. You have Yamamoto. Really, Tarek Skubal and Yamamoto, they're the young guys. Those guys are going to be able to pitch for the next 5 years. So you have two aces, especially if you sign Skubal, which I think they will. Two aces. And then you have Glass now, who maybe lasts another year. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Snell, he's got a few years left on his contract, but he's not going to be here for the next 5 to 6 years. And then Roki can be the third guy. He could be a third ace because I really believe Roki will be Roki that they got, that they want, that was a phenom next year. I think he's a year away. So that's the Dodger. I'm just trying to end this on a good note with the Dodgers, considering this stupid Kalshi thing, but that's that. Now, I never thought I'd bring up I knew at some point I would talk about it, but I didn't think I'd make it a subject for a show. But I had to something I read online or saw online actually in a short clip that just made me want to do a little bit of a bit on the WNBA and what's going on with that monstrosity. The title I put on is, some of you may have gotten it and some of you didn't, but I'm going to explain to you what I meant. So the headline says, is this the WNBA or the WWNBA? Some of you got it, some of you didn't. If you haven't gotten it, you might have not been around it, or you're just dumb. No, I'm just kidding. But the WNBA is a fledgling business. The books are in the red, and they've always been in the red. What does the W stand for? There's a lot of puns in this, by the way, if you guys are that smart. I'll get to the real meaning of what the WNBA is. But let me start out with this. I'm trying to set this up so it's funny and it makes sense. The WNBA stands for Women's National Basketball Association. The WWNBA is the World Wrestling National, or you can call it Women's Wrestling National Basketball Association. For those of you who weren't smart enough to figure it out. Why am I saying that? What does wrestling have to do with the WNBA? Have you watched what's been going on this year? And what these fucking Nimrods are doing to their own league? Stupid ass coaches that don't support their own team, their own girls. A commissioner that has no balls. Zero. A fucking coward. And by the way, I told you about the puns and the metaphors. No balls. Miss Commissioner, you being a woman, I mean, as much as you can be a woman, she looked like a sun-dried purse, personally, but that's me. So, Miss Commissioner, or should I call you Mr. Commissioner, so that you don't get offended? What does the W stand in WNBA? The stupid bitch could not answer that question. And not only that, you got a couple meal tickets and you can see. Oh, there she is, pointing. You got a couple meal tickets that are bringing positive things to the league, and then these dumb idiots resent them. And I'm putting it mildly, dumb idiots. I want to use harsher words, but I don't want to go that route either. I use curse words on here, but I really try not to. And sometimes I just got to do it because it's the zinger doesn't zing enough without it. But it is the most hilarious thing. You are in a losing business, and you're getting a little bit of positive pub because people are excited to come see certain players now versus ever before. And the same players in this league aren't thanking the extra attention that's going to make them more money. Instead, they're turning it into a junkyard brawl because they're so jealous and catty and every stereotype of the jealous female that you could be. All while they're wearing weaves, and not only just weaves, blonde weaves. The hypocrisy doesn't ever stop, by the way. The stupidity and hypocrisy are first cousins. I've said this for years. They are first cousins. The commissioner is a coward. The head coach of the Indiana, whatever the hell they call them, is a coward. And all those fucking bitches that are in the league that hate the girls that are getting the attention, you're a fucking piece of shit too. You have no fucking idea. And then you'll sit there and you'll bitch and complain about why you're not getting paid enough. You dumb bitch. The reason why you're not getting paid enough is because you're fucking it up. You're fucking up the meal ticket. Because you're jealous. You're not getting the attention. Sorry. Do you think if I'm walking into a room with Sydney Sweeney, anyone's going to give two shits about what I'm doing? She's going to get the nice table. She's going to get the free whatever. She's going to be gawked at even by the women. What am I supposed to do? Sit there and go, fuck that bitch. Oh, maybe it's because I'm a guy that I don't think that way. You know how I think? Oh, shit. It's Sydney Sweeney, man. What am I going to do, man? Look at me and look at her. Genetics plays a part in life, and you can't control it. I can go run track for the... Let's say I was 18 years old. I could have ran track every day, taken every supplement. I could have taken every piece of gear known to man without exploding my heart. If I raced Usain Bolt, what do you think is going to happen? Is that fair? No, it's not fair. But that's life. You're in a losing league. And you're a loser on top of it. Because you're mad that somebody else is getting more attention. Jeez, where have we heard that before in our adult life? For those of us who have been around a while. The WNBA, if you want to be real, stands for Write-Off Basketball Association. And I say that now because none of these dumb bitches even know what a woman is. Or won't say it because they're worried about offending somebody. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? Somebody to come tell you that you're not a woman? That you're a bigot? You can't tell those people to go fuck off? J.K. Rowling does. Why don't you do what she does? And then Enos Cantor and Royce White flip the script. They got to go have a congressional hearing now to decide on what's a man, what's a woman, and who can. Like the amount of stupidity and hypocrisy. This is the problem in society. This is why we're upset about all the things that are going on with the Lakers, all the things that are going on with the Dodgers. At what point are you going to hold these assholes accountable instead of just saying, well, it's about the money. Well, they, nothing you can do. We're going to find out about the Lakers. We're going to find out about the Lakers. The Dodgers get the benefit of the doubt, even if Mark Walter's not involved. Why? Because Stan Kasten's these days, I don't even know what that means anymore, right? But as of right now, today, Stan Kasten looks like a pretty smart guy, pretty stand-up guy, and he cares about winning and giving the fans what they want. Andrew Friedman, the same thing. Brandon Gomes, the same thing. The players that are playing with the Dodgers, all of them are trying to do their best and play well. Everybody's putting in everything they can to win. And they have. They've done so much. This Dodger team, if they never win again, have done so much. We saw arguably the greatest World Series last year that we'll ever watch. The year before, we saw a Dodger team beat the Yankees after 43 years? 42 years. Finally, we got a chance as adults. I was only 3 years old the last time the Yankees played the Dodgers. We finally saw, and not only that, they beat them in Yankee Stadium. And not only did they do that, they whooped their ass. And not only did they do that, they shattered everyone in Yankee Stadium, down 5-0, come back and win 7-6. They've done so much, and you got to appreciate that. And just like you got to appreciate LeBron James with the Lakers, okay? Yeah, things should have went better, but he did bring a championship to LA, and he did play for LA for 8 years. Be grateful and be happy. We want more. Yes, I get it. But don't be that person. Don't be some of these fucking cockroaches that are ready to hang tail. I'm upset with Kyle Tucker as much as anyone, okay? And I'll sit here and I'll say he has been an unmitigated disaster. But I'm cheering for him. I desperately want him to play better, even if I know he's not. Even if I know this is a dead year, it's over. Like, it would be a shock of all shocks if something switched for him. It doesn't look like he has that makeup, but sometimes that happens. And the reason why I've felt maybe a little bit better about it than maybe previous years is I'm watching what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going through right now. Cal Raleigh is going through right now, and I'm going, man, there is something in the water, and it's not just Kyle Tucker. It's a lot of guys. In a billion years, I would have never thought I would see Guerrero Jr. playing the way he's playing. It is mind-boggling. Something is either baseball has gone to another level of FU, or he is suffering behind the scenes and we don't know about it. So it's been a weird year. Been one of the worst hitting seasons I've ever seen, by the way. It's everyone. So yeah, I didn't think I was going to talk WNBA, but I saw that video, that short video, and I said I gotta say something because I did have something to say. Like, it's not really a sport. It's professional wrestling. Every day I'm hearing about how some player is choking somebody and slapping her and kicking her and all that. Now, I love sports fights as much as the next guy. I love when the dugouts clear, and I love when basketball players are ready to throw down. I love that. But much like anything else, if it's happening every day, every time, it loses its point. I don't want to see. We didn't see Mike Tyson fight at the beginning of his career, maybe, but when he became Mike Tyson, when Evander Holyfield became Evander Holyfield, and the Leonards and the Hearns and the Haglers, these guys, when they got to peak, we saw them fight two, three, four times a year in the big fights. There's that anticipation, there's that build up. If it's not that, then it's just like, what is this? Are you gonna just fight anybody? I want to see it when it's special. I want to see it when Shaq and Barkley fight. One throws the ball at somebody's head, and then Shaq, like he always does, he throws a punch and completely misses. He had those. I think the best one was Brad Miller. Brad Miller wasn't even looking at him, and he still missed the punch. So so many people in these positions. And a lot of these people, by the way, they got those positions because of the same things that they bitched about when the other person was getting the job: hypocrisy and stupidity. Because you'll know who these people are. As soon as someone asked the WNBA commissioner, the dummy WA commissioner, what is your league? She didn't answer. You are a coward. You are a stupid moron. And you have no fucking heart. And all your movements and all your bullshit means nothing in the end. You're a coward. You're scared of people that mean nothing. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You say the truth, that's it. That's all that matters. It's the truth. So, with that, I thought I went through more topics in almost, a little over 90 minutes than I thought I would, but I want to thank Chris, aka Drip Show, for initiating the show tonight. And also, I have to say that the Steelers' last preseason game and the Dodgers getting swept by the Braves added a little bit of fuel to that. And then, of course, the Lakers and their situation. Everything seems to be kind of underground right now. I'm not hearing too much out of there, but I'm sure something's going to pop up soon. I know I didn't talk about the Kaminga, Jonathan Kaminga going to Minnesota, but I was waiting to talk about that with Gerald on the Lakers Fast Break, since it's a Laker topic. So we'll talk about that on the Lakers Fast Break. If you guys have any questions, if you have any comments about that, you guys can go ahead and message me at any time. You guys are always welcome to message me at any time, either on my Instagram or on the comment section of YouTube. If you guys have any kind of preference, I'm here to entertain those who want to watch what we're doing here. And it's because of you guys. I'm not doing this. I enjoy doing this, but I play off of the need. And I do get messages from really good people that watch the show, and you can tell there's an itch after a few weeks when I'm not on. It's like, hey Joe, when are you gonna have your next show? As soon as I get that question, I'm like, all right, and people are wanting to watch. This is always going to be about what you guys want out of this. I'll do my best to provide the content, but it's ultimately for you guys to be entertained, because I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. That is the most important thing when you are when anyone is doing when anyone's selling a product, podcast, selling an item, selling a service. How do you not appreciate those who have trusted you in providing them what they want? Now, I know that there's crazy fans out there for a lot of these celebrities that are stalkish like, or get into their personal space. Totally get that. Those guys are weirdos. But you cannot go into this assuming everyone is like that. There are people out there that really want to thank you and that really want to appreciate you for giving them a little bit of something that they want. So again, I want to thank you all for being here. It's late here in Winchester, California, aka suburb of Temecula, California, on the west coast of the United States. It's 11:37 right now. For those of you around in Australia, in the Philippines, I know we have a lot of friends out in Australia and the Philippines and across the country. Thank you so much for listening here live. For those of you who are watching the replay after, again, thank you for watching the replay. If you have any questions, again, please, I do answer them when I'm off air. I'm checking my posts regularly, at least 1 or 2 times a day. So until then, I want you all to have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and until next time, see you next time.